Hey everybody, Norm over here, and I've got my friend Steve Postell, and Steve plays with the Immediate Family, and the Immediate Family is kind of an offshoot of the Section, right?
Well, actually, it's funny because it came together because there was interest in the Section, and which the Section was Danny Kortchmar, Lee Sklar, Russ Kunkel, and Craig Durgee, and a Japanese label. If I'm not mistaken, they were going to re-release some of the early records and tried to bring them over, and the schedules didn't work out. So Danny was just talking to me and yeah, we can't go. And I said, well, why don't we go? Let's go to Japan. Let's put something together. And one thing led to another, and then this new band formed, which was so that when we were over there, they offered Danny a record to redo a lot of his hits.
Cool. Yeah, Danny's written a lot of cool stuff. Somebody's Baby by Jackson Browne, some stuff with Don Henley,
James Taylor, of course,
New York Minute, stuff like that. So the Section is sort of like the Wrecking Crew.
They were part of all those guys in the mid or actually early '70s came to LA and became the guys who were playing on a lot of the records in the same way that the Wrecking Crew had
James Taylor, Linda Ronstadt, Jackson Browne, Warren Zevon,
and
on and on and on.
And one thing that's interesting that I found out when we did the Grammy Museum is that they were pretty much the first guys. Peter Asher I said, you guys your names should be on the records. And before the Wrecking Crew was nobody knew who they were.
Right, it was a mystery.
It was a mystery. So Peter started putting so this was the first bunch of guys who their names got on the record, and then Peter said, you should go on the tours because you played the record. So it kind of changed what the session guys were, and it made them much more visible, I think.
That happened like with Motown too, with the band that backed up everybody. They were sort of mystery guys, and now there's the
now we know,
James Jamerson and all those guys.
The Wrecking Crew their names weren't even on the records.
Sure, and they played on every style record that you could. And you've played with a bunch of friends of mine, Robin Ford for one.
Well, Robin's played on a whole bunch of my records. And my records have always been guitar-centric. So
Eric Johnson.
So I hoodwinked a lot of my friends into taking part.
Very cool. Yeah. And there's just so many other people that you've played with, produced, and just tell us a couple.
Well, the last few, I had a great time. I worked with Jennifer Warnes for quite a while, and we did this. Jennifer made a classic record. It's called Famous Blue Raincoat, which was she redid Leonard Cohen's songs, and I think a few people had done it, but never like she did. She really interpreted it. He was part of it because she sang with him, and it was a really incredible record produced by Roscoe Beck, and I helped her put together the 25th anniversary of that edition. We found 4 songs that didn't make the record, found the multi-track, beefed them up a little bit.
Very cool.
And I've been touring with Eric Anderson, who was part of the whole original folky songwriter movement. Him and Joni and Dylan and Ian Matthews.
It's like that movie now that's just out, Echo in the Canyon. All those guys. David Crosby's in that.
Right.
And you've played with David.
Actually, I'm playing with David Wednesday. We're doing this was sort of how we ended up here. Can you hold that up?
Here it is.
Yeah. So we're doing this benefit that Norm is a big part of, and they're calling it the California Saga 2 because I guess they did a Saga 1.
Right.
And I was working on David's new record, and with David and his son James Raymond, who's a wonderful producer, keyboard player, and David said the 3 of us should find somewhere we can play together. And I went, hey, I got a good idea.
This looks pretty good. And by the way, Derek Smalls is going to be the MC. Now, Derek Smalls, if you don't know, he had quite a career with a group called Spinal Tap.
That's right.
They were playing in giant stadiums. Next thing you knew, they were opening for puppet shows and stuff like that. That's a typical career of a musician.
The quintessential story,
ups and downs. But he's back, and he's refused to play at any more puppet shows, and he's going to host this show.
And we're playing a song with him.
Fantastic.
Me and Danny and Waddy. Waddy played on the record, and hopefully Crosby sang on the song. So
very cool.
We're gonna have some fun.
Well, Nigel Tufnell and all those guys, and you know why they're good is because they play loud. Spinal Tap. Chris, actually Nigel, told me that they're good because they play loud, and you know that they're good because they're very loud.
Very loud.
Those jazz players, they play so low, you just got to take their word for it.
And
that
it's
they're
all
good.
mistakes, according to
Right.
Spinal
Yeah.
Tap.
Well, they can't play a right note,
They just
but that's
play
what
all
they avoid all the good notes
Right.
and go right to the wrong
It's
notes.
funny, when I went to conservatory, I was a classical player,
Yeah.
and Mannes College of Music, now it's Manhattan College of Music, and one of the running jokes was just play fast and loud.
There you go.
Even classical players knew, just play fast and loud.
If you want a career.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if you really don't care, then try to play the right notes.
Somebody said I play jazz because I hate crowds.
There it is, right there. So there's your answer. Steve, could you play a little for us? Just something that
Sure.
you feel good with. This, by the way, this is a
This is a
Rockbridge
beautiful
guitar.
It's called Rockbridge. They're out of Virginia. They only make about 60 guitars a year, and Dave Matthews plays them a lot, and Jason Mraz. They just made one for Brandi Carlile, and it's a really. They specifically when he met me, he said, do you want? I said, I have 80 guitars. I mean, I love your guitar.
That's a good start.
It's a good start. And he said, well, what don't you have? I said, well, I don't have a small body cedar, and
Parlor.
this showed up
Yeah,
in my,
there you go.
so.
Very cool. So what are you going to play for us?
I'll just play a little bit of, I have a new record out, just came out. Actually, we've been going to Japan a bunch with the immediate family, and then they also, what the label did is they signed each one of us as a solo artist as well.
Oh, very cool.
So they released a record of mine which will come out here in about 2 months. And it's just a little bluesy number that's on the record. So. One by one, two by two, days go by and I'm still missing you. Know I'm supposed to be getting it together. But it's cold out here in all this bad weather. I don't mind thunder and lightning, but a love like ours, it's surely more frightening. Just seems like nothing is gonna get better. If I keep standing out here in all this bad weather.
Very nice. And that's called Bad Weather?
Ready?
All right, beautiful. Steve Postell. So, again, we're doing California Saga 2. We're going to help the homeless, the Midnight Mission, Hope of the Valley, Rescue Mission. It's all to support homeless people, and musicians and homeless can go side by side. In
Right,
fact,
because if we
one of
lose
the
a
same.
gig, we're homeless.
See that?
What do you call a musician without a girlfriend? Homeless.
There you go. So, and what we're going to do is we have the Great Vero Guitar Contest with the All Guitar Network, and what we're going to do is we're going to get Steve to sign these great guitars from Taylor that Taylor gave us, and one of them is going to be auctioned off at the show, the California Saga 2, all to go to the Midnight Mission. So, Steve, would you do us the honor? And
Absolutely. Taylor's a wonderful company. They do a lot.
Absolutely.
They sponsor. We do a room every year with Dan Navarro at the International Folk Alliance, and Taylor's been a sponsor for us.
Good people, good guitars. Very cool. Thank you, Steve. And we have one more for you to sign. And the All Guitar Network is something we've been working on for about 2.5 years, and it's still in its infancy, but it's really a cool deal. And we're partnered up with Vero, which is a great online site, and they don't harvest your information or any of that kind of stuff. And they're all part of this, making sure that the Midnight Mission gets some cool stuff to raise money, and it's all a good cause, and you're a good guy. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, man.
That's very,
Great to
very
be
cool. And say hi to all my buddies. And one more time, California Saga 2,
Next
July
Wednesday.
3rd.
Yeah, Wednesday, July 3rd.
And it's at the Ace Hotel, or in the theater in the Ace Hotel. And
Still some
it's
tickets.
really cool thing, and you're helping a great cause. We're going to feed the homeless. We're going to raise some money. The Midnight Mission serves 1 million meals a year to
amazing.
homeless people.
Amazing.
And they rehabilitate them. They, get them back into society.
And you know
give
what a
them
lot of
skill.
people don't know, and I'll just say this, that many homeless people actually have jobs. They aren't just, they go to work. That's why when you go to a shelter in the daytime, they aren't there because they're working. They
Right.
just still, with minimum wage, they still can't get a home.
Well, and a lot of people made bad financial decisions, and some of them
Like
were
me.
working.
That's why they have 80 guitars instead of, well, I have a,
That's a good thing, though. Yeah, with 80 guitars, you'll never be homeless, at least for a long period
no,
of time.
I'll come in here one day with a truck and go, Norm.
There you go. He's saved by Norm, right here. But let me just say, it's a great cause. We love the Midnight Mission, and thank you guys for being so kind as to help everybody out. And it's going to be a great show, win-win. You're going to hear great music,
Yeah.
and you're going to help the homeless at the same time. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. man.
Appreciate it, brother.